My name is Franko. I'm an artist, independent artist, and I do paintings for exhibits in local libraries, banks, offices. The paintings that I do are oils. I do normally New England subjects, the coastline, boats, birds, animals, and I've been doing this for about 20 years. Prior to that, I was an illustrator. I worked for local companies like Raytheon and Avco in Wilmington, and as a commercial and technical artist. My art career started when I was in the Air Force. I was selected to do presentations and cartoons while I was in the Air Force. When I got out, I started working for local companies. At that time, I took a 4-year commercial art program from Westport, Connecticut. That was my main presentation as an artist. About 20 years ago, I self-taught myself in oils through videos, books, and watching other artists and studying. I started presenting my work in galleries in Martha's Vineyard in Edgartown, in Boston, Andover, and Newburyport. And then about 8 or 9 years ago, I realized that if I presented my own work through exhibits in public venues, I had a chance to produce them and sell them at a better cost to the customer. And it gave me more control of what I would paint and how I present it. The challenge of painting and finding subjects that you like to paint is fairly complex. What I found is by doing my own photography at the beginning, where I would go to the South Shore or up to Rockport or down in Delaware where we visited, and there are certain times of the day, early morning or late in the afternoon when the light is best, and being able to photograph and present my own subjects was a lot more enjoyable. And I would take hundreds of pictures, and out of there I would find a few that I liked and I would paint them and then frame them and put them in my exhibits. I'm very sensitive to nature and how it's being affected today. Animals that are endangered, turtles, dolphins, whales, and in this case here, orangutans, which is one of our favorite primates. I went through the internet and there was a series of free photos on there with orangutans. This one was a mother with her new baby. Got caught up by it and decided that I would like to try to paint it on a panel. And I actually have a gold frame that looks like bamboo. This is something I would exhibit in one of my future exhibits. I'm about halfway there now. There's a lot of work to be done. Exhibits that I have are generally 2, 3, 6 months or even a year away. During that period, when I think about the venues I'm going to be painting in, I think of what I have in inventory, which right now is about 75 paintings that I have, and I normally exhibit between 15 and 30 paintings at an exhibit. I try to fit the subject matter to the communities or areas that I'm in. If I'm going to do an exhibit and it's going to be down towards the ocean, I'll paint more boats or sea paintings. It's a horse community. In that case, I'll paint some horses. This is a picture frame that was used by a family, and when they discarded it, I obtained the frame, removed the glass and materials, and then in this case, I was able to buy a canvas-mounted surface that I would paint on, and it fits comfortably in the frame, and when I get done I can attach it, and this would be the way I presented it. Many of these frames are not standard where you can buy canvases for them, so what I have done is I've taken masonite panels, which you can buy in the Home Depot and other facilities, and I take them and then I present them by doing the surface with gesso, which is an acrylic surface that artists use, and they put 2 or 3 coats on it, and when that dries, it's like a canvas. it will absorb the paint and hold the paint. I take that and I cut it to the size of the frames. So I work with little frames. In this case, I did a small sailboat. In this case, I did a female cardinal. In my exhibits, my large exhibits, I have paintings up to 2 and 3 or 4 feet long. But for the Holiday Stroll, my quest was to make smaller paintings that would be reasonable enough in price for people to use as gift items. And these are oil paintings. In some of the smaller frames, you can buy canvas panels that will fit, but most of it, I do it this way with the masonite. Price point is so critical. We've been in a number of different towns around the holidays, and we look at, number one, what would be the price that someone would want to pay for a holiday gift, and how can we make it and fit it into that category. So over the past 7 or 8 years, I've realized that price point is very critical. I also need to look at the amount of time that it takes me to produce it and make it a fair trade for both sides. Prior to the pandemic, for the last 8 or 9 years, I have exhibited between 18 and 30 times a year. So I had multiple shows in libraries, public buildings, banks. When the pandemic came, I was in 5 locations, and all of them, when they shut their doors, shut this down. During that time, I have had the opportunity at Mass General Hospital. I mean, I've been in 3 hospice centers where people still need to go and visit people. And this is giving me some opportunity to show my paintings and several cases sell them. And it kept me going, but at a very small percentage of what I had prior to the pandemic. At this point, I've already scheduled 5 exhibits for next year, and I'm building on that. I have my word out. Of the 30 to 40 locations that I've shown in the last 8 years, I can go back on multiple times and exhibit there, and that's where I'm going now. So don't give up hope. There is light. I have a website with about 30 or 40 paintings on it. My website is robfranko.com. The exhibits that I have are normally on my website, but because that came to a stop, I have not updated the schedule. As that comes forward, I will be able to do that. The Holiday Stroll is the first personal exhibit that I've had in 2 years because of the pandemic, and I find that it's my opportunity to get out to people, to show them what I've been doing during this time. The subjects that I've been preparing for this Holiday Stroll are mostly small bird paintings. I'm looking forward to presenting them at that show. I was in that show 2 other times. Medfield is one of the unique Metro West communities that has a very active populace who go to this, and there was a lot of activity the last stroll that I was in. It's enjoyable to show in. People appreciate it, whether they buy it or not. They come through, they talk about it, they give you suggestions. It's a good feeling. It's almost unfortunate that it's only a one-day event, but it's an opportunity for artists and musicians to show their wares there. Art, music, sports, anything that we do in our society has a value to people, to help them grow, gives them the opportunity to express themselves, art and music specifically. I think it's very important. To me, whether I sell these paintings at the exhibit or other places is relevant to me, but what's most important is my ability to capture an image that I love, and hopefully someone out there will feel the same way. That's how I look at art today. If a person has a desire to do it, a lot of people tell me, they say, well, I couldn't do that. If your desire is there and you're willing to go through the learning process, and the learning process starts here and always goes down, and then it comes up. It takes patience and desire to get there. I would say that anyone who enjoys art and painting and feels they have a flair to do it. There are many ways through the internet, through YouTube. There are programs on there that show you how to get started, how to do it. There are magazines available for the artist or the person who wants to get into art. And this one happens to be on birds and other subjects, but it gives you subjects that you can actually use to paint from. And a lot of the subjects I get from on the internet. You can request free photos of different subjects. It could be dolphins and whales, turtles, it could be birds, horses, any subjects, flowers, and using them, you can use those as subjects to do your work and do your painting. Painting is hard, it's very complex, there's a lot of failure in it, but when you do a subject you love and you complete it well, it's very gratifying.